Turn with us, please, to the book of Proverbs, chapter number 24. Proverbs 24. One verse number 10.
If thou faint in the day of adversity,
If thou faint in the day of adversity,
thy strength is small.
thy strength is small. Thank you. That's what we'd like to talk to this morning for we spent, Lord willing, about strength. In religious circles, there's a lot of discussion about strength, who's strong and who's weak and who's vacillating and all this kind of thing. But I would ask for a definition from each of you. I would like to get varied answers. But I don't know if we can get a more graphic definition than the one given in this verse. Read it again, please.
If thou faint in the day of adversity,
If thou faint in the day of adversity,
thy strength is small.
thy strength is small. Thank you. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. Now, I think that many people they frost because they have a wrong definition or assessment of what strength is all about. Some people might say, well, then the person who has the greatest zeal, the person who might have done some exploit at some time or another. And you have maybe as many definitions as you do people. But we want a clear and concise definition of what strength is all about. He said, if we faint in time of adversity, our strength is small. In a nutshell. And now, adversities will certainly come in one fashion or another. Now, many people are bulging with strength in a certain area, but they are weak and vacillating in other areas. Now, everybody seems strong under favorable conditions. You know, sunshine testimonies. They feel that I can conquer the world. You know, I mean, and of course, that is a legitimate feeling. They actually feel that way. That's why they want, we should assess our testimonies here. Now, emotional testimonies can be dangerous because you're speaking out of your present feeling. And you have not pondered altogether what will be along the way. And then if you don't ponder it or realize it, then you don't prepare for it. Now, despite whatever we do, how many exploits we've performed, if we faint in adversity, in time of misfortune, disappointment, in time of trial, where you've been tried to your very core. You know, you don't determine the strength of a vehicle when it's on a level plane and there are no difficulties in the road or any high sudden inclines, but they take it in rugged terrain, almost impossible, and they are into mud that's up to the hub, and see how it would fare under those unfavorable circumstances. Well, take the word of God. God used the same method in trying us and determining our strength. I've assessed people and myself down through the years. You follow me, surely? See, but now here's the situation. But now, when God allows you to sense the extent of your strength, and you do nothing about it. See, he gives you clear indication of what it's all about, and you can do something about it. You were designed to be that way. That's not what salvation is all about. And now I often hear people say that, well, you're just strong. But then when I told you the other day that we are all on an equal plane. And within ourselves, we're all vacillating and weak and subject to constant failure, misfortune. But now, you can only determine the strength of any chain or whatever by its weakest link. So, you see, you can't miscalculate like this. You cannot. See, because when you are likely to be pushed over the cliff in a weak moment, you follow me? But now here, there is a strength that's available to each of us. You understand? See, God did not discriminate here. There is a resource here that's available to each of us. Nobody has to be weak. You follow me? Now, weak in the faith, maybe. We want to qualify that because you might not be apt to latch on to certain things immediately. We're not talking about that. Maybe you don't understand, and because of that, the devil buffets you about because you don't understand certain things. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Because all of us weren't born knowing everything. And something we could not readily perceive. Like the Jews, well, there were those who could not deal with the eating of certain meats and observation of certain days and all this kind of thing. And the Bible says, spits him that's weak in the faith. But not because he was doing wrong, not because he was sinning, but because his perception was not complete and developed. So now, so that indicated that there was a weakness there. We're not talking about that. You can be perfectly honest and pure and not able to perceive certain things that has nothing to do with your experience. However, the enemy might take advantage of it and then push you overboard because you don't perceive it. But God will help you. But listen to us. Let's get into it now. Now, just get to the point. How do we assess one's strength? Now, we determine, and you can determine yourself with your own thermometer or your own scale, how to assess your strength. You know, now you notice people who have sugar and blood pressure and whatnot, they have a little apparatus, and they, from time to time, they sort of prick their finger and see how it is. A temperature, they have a little thermometer, and they, you know, it's not difficult. And you'll know where you are. And you'll know whether there's infection in your body or whether your sugar level is high or whatever the case might be. Well, then now, and there are people who are very meticulous. They have all of those apparatuses to make sure that their condition does not just get out of control. How in the, why don't we, why are we that sensitive about our spirituality? You know, what? Now examine yourself. Wait a minute, Lord. Was that impatience? Was that impatience? I spoke out of the anguish of my spirit. Well, Lord, did I get out of the spirit? Well, no, they can accuse you. We're not talking about that. But now, well, we should be so concerned about our own experience and whether that affects our relationship with God that we should be constantly examining ourselves. Not that we can boast about what we are, but to make sure that we're not off course here. And that we did not cross the line. All right. Now here. I would suspect the best definition that I know is given right here. All right. So your strength is small if you faint in the day of adversity. Now, these words are seemingly simple, but we need to define them each. If we faint, faint means when you give up your consciousness. You're out of it. Because of whatever reason. Now, many times the fainting is a protection because if a person is undergoing so much strength, he faints. Because his body can only take so much. And he faints, and that might give some relief. You understand? All right now. Easy now. If you want to determine how strong you are, or anybody else, we're mainly ourselves. Because we usually favor ourselves. All right. Now, adverse situation, things that are against us, things that are grinding us to powder, things that we would rather die than go through. Okay. Now, what do you mean faith? I just don't care. Whatever. Do anything you want to do. Well, what about your stand? What about your conviction? I don't care about that anymore. I want relief. See, you faint. You stop fighting to maintain it. Now you feel fainting. You're fainting. We just can't get along. I can't tolerate this any longer. Now you're fainting. Instead of working it out, no, well, I can tolerate this any longer. And there's nothing, if you get in that school this morning, that anybody can do to encourage you at that moment. So that means you're discouraged. Well, that's what happened to the children of Israel when God rejected them. I mean, they died in the wilderness, but because they fainted in the face of what was seemingly impossible. They felt that with their resources, it was impossible to come against the giants in Canaan. And they sent spies there to spy it out and bring back a report, and they brought back an evil report, so we can't make it. Despite what God has said. Oh, I'm gonna pray. You can't make it, like that you're gonna die. God's not the Lord that heals thee. I'm sorry. You praying with me? I'm sorry. I mean, from now on, we live in famish. Well, that's just your option. If you think that'll work for you, that's your option. You really went through some tremendous things, shouldn't you? Now, the reason that the church world is in the predicament that it's in is because at the outset, there's strong convictions. I mean, denominationally. Why? The nation itself did. They would disallow things now that most churches are, I mean just society itself. I've shown you, like I clicked it, what? They were so concerned about morality and the stepping overboard with the identification of the sex. It was unlawful for a woman to wear pants. Unlawful. They lock you up. Didn't take you to court. No. You're pushing us in the wrong direction here. And you see where we're landing because we violated? They are the distinguishing. Now, actually true. Now they got to go around all of the bathrooms and change. Why? Because, in fact, I had an experience that was quite, well, I'm not sure it was amusing. I went to Georgia last year, and so went in the filling station, I went in the restroom, and so there was a whatever, manicure ain't fixed up, this kind of. I said, I'm sorry, Roman, you all right? I mean, I was so embarrassed because I thought I had miscalculated, and I didn't. Well, in fact, I was in the gym. I didn't know what to do. So I just embarrassingly walked out. And after a while, I said, "Wait a minute!" I looked on the door, and I was in the right one according to the door. But not according to what I saw.
Wow.
See, Father, but that's just how far we've gone. See, I've often said that when you deviate, you don't know where to stop. I want you, you hear a lot of this. When you deviate along any line, you do what you consider the minimum to get the result that you want, which you end up way out of left field. You explain away the difficulty. Well, we go. See, I'm going to tell you. See, where you did just a little bit, and you thought that you get by with it, and you don't feel bad about it. So now, next time, well, wait a minute. I did that. It worked for me. And it alleviated me. So now, this time I need something a little stronger. You understand? See, let me tell you this, Shirley. I told you this before, about years ago, down south. The people would make a lot of cakes, and, or maybe they would brag about the number of cakes. Maybe a fruit cake and coconut cake and, the pineapple, apple upside down cake and all this kind of thing, and put a lot of beautiful, compelling icing on it. And so my wife, my mother, rather, would just have them lined up. But you can't touch them till Christmas. And how tantalizing it was to walk by those cake daily. So, well, now, I was forbidden to eat the cake, but now there's a little icing on the side. So she didn't say she didn't forbid us to eat icing. So I got it. And so, of course, it was intriguing because, not because it's so good, but because it was forbidden. And we're not the toy, it's forbidden. All right then, and so, then I got all of the icing. So a little bit of crumbs came with it. Now that messed me up. And so then, now, when the little crumb came, I left a little hole, and I began to dig under the hole. And a little more, I didn't cut the cake, I dug in the hole and put it. And after a while, I couldn't stop. See, I go too far, and I got a taste of the cake. Now I got to go all the way. So, you know how you did. The first time you did, you said, you took your little, whomever, home and get on hand. Good night, kissed on the hand. And of course, there was nothing electrifying about that, so you did that while on the cheek. Well, that's not exhilarating. So, on the lips. And of course, I don't care to finish the scenario. You know how it ends up. What I'm saying, see, when you deviate, there's an intrigue about the forbidden, and you go beyond your intentions. Most people that are in adverse situations, they didn't intend to go that far. There was a time when they would have died before they had gone that far. They didn't intend to. That was not their initial intention. Now, look what a mess I'm in. I think there was one of the ministers, young ministers in Detroit, one of the few remains who was there before I was. He came in fact to the fellowship. You got to get you to see him because he's a friend of mine from out of town. And so he came back. He said, "Helen, you know what?" He said, "You said that when you deviate, you don't know where to stop." He said, "I've had 6 surgeries, 6 of them, and counting." He said, "I didn't intend to do that. I just intended to get a little relief here, do that what seems simplistic and what not. But now, I've been butchered. And he's sick now, and I guess there's nothing else he can do now but just wait for the final end." Here, let me sit down here. How does one determine one's strength in days of adversity? We'll give you some examples. In days of adversity, this situation. Adversity is be that it's going contrary to your feelings and what you can regard God as your better judgment and your well-being is going contrary. It can even be life-changing and something that your mind just cannot embrace. You understand? It's just too much to even think about it. So I'm going to eliminate it. I'm going to tear the page out. I'm going to turn the radio up loud so I can't hear the Holy Ghost. I'm going to take the bulb out so I can't see the red light. And think that's the solution. Well, no, it's not the solution. You just took the bulb out. But the circumstances are the same. All right. Now, here. Well then, you've all had adversities of one sort or another. Some serious and seemingly detrimental, and then others was reasonably mild, but you had it. You understand? And so now, you reacted, sometime out of panic, or whatever the situation, and you made a decision. You've often heard me say, you got to live with the consequences of your decision. Now, you don't just make a decision, there's a consequence. Every decision that you make, there's a consequence, great or small, depending on the situation. So now here, children, right now, many professed saints are mourning because they made decisions in their haste. They didn't think it through. They didn't ponder the consequences. And now, many of them are irreversible. The consequences will remain. See, you don't just do what you want to do and say, I'll take care of it later. Something you can't take care of altogether. You just have to eat it. You just have to bite the bullet. We need to think about this because there are so many people that I've been trying to get or trying to encourage them. Sometimes maybe I go a little too far in my attempt to encourage them. Well, everything will be all right. Maybe it means that way. Maybe it means that way. Maybe, almost compromise. Because I'm concerned and don't want them to go under, but many times they're already under. Pray for the saints. This is a tremendous thing we're dealing with here. My God. If we faint in the day of adversity, our strength is small. All right then, turn to 1 Peter chapter 5, verse number 7. All right. Now,
casting all your care upon him.
Well, just a minute now here. How do we accumulate strength? You understand? That's what we need to know. And I'm not just throwing something at you, but I'm going to tell you the solution. And just follow the word of God. It's not ambiguous. It's not difficult to see. It's clear. But now, what is involved in accumulating strength is an issue. Come on with it.
Casting all your care upon him.
Casting all your care upon him.
For he careth for
you. He careth you. Go on, please.
Be sober.
Be sober.
Be vigilant.
Be vigilant.
Because your adversary, the
devil,
as a roaring lion,
walketh about,
seeking whom he may devour. Whom resist steadfast in the faith. Knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world.
Now you listen. He's trying to encourage them. He said, now, other brothers going through the same thing you're going through. Understanding? I mean, and in fact, they're going through some things that are infinitely worse. They're going through the things that make what you're going to look like a picnic. So when you think you're the only one and you're going through more than anybody else and sympathize with yourself, you're on dangerous ground. That's why you complain. Why do I have to always be the one? Why do I always have to be one? Why do I have to go through this? Why don't I get a break? Come on. And then after a while, you find yourself murmuring against God and gets destroyed in the wilderness. That's what the children is. Well, why we do this? We were better off in Egypt. Which is over here. I was better off before I got saved. I ain't going to do it before I got saved. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. You murmur against God. You say, God, you could have made it different. You didn't have to allow this to come my way. Wait a minute. Wait a moment. You better assess what you're saying here. God, you could have prevented it. You could have led it in a direction. I would have, but you wouldn't listen. This, what you're undergoing, is self-induced. It's not directly from the hand of God. And if you assess it, you know that. Come on with it.
Be sober.
Be sober.
Be vigilant.
Vigilant.
Because your adversary, the devil.
Your adversary, the devil.
As a roaring
lion.
Walketh about.
Seeking
whom he may devour.
Just listen to me a moment, see. I'm trying to give you the solution here, if you want it. Most of you don't want it because what it takes to get it is too trying and too stringent. Come on.
Whom resist steadfast in the faith.
Resist steadfast in the faith.
Knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren.
See, like children, you're not the only one going through. It might seem like you're going through more than anybody else, but please don't let the devil pile it on you. Some people are just silent sufferers. Some people are like goats, some are like sheep. See, a sheep would just stay there and you hang him up and cut his throat. You won't say a thing. Maybe a little bit, like that. But when the goat see a knife, it's not hard to jump. So we see a knife. Wait a minute, the man might go to cut the corner with him. I don't care if I see the knife. so you have a fit. All I just start kicking him there. You know what I mean? But that's just some people. They have anything. Oh, I got a little pain here. What? I think I got what Brother So-and-so had. I think I got a brain too. You got morning going on. All you did is you ate too much grease and had a headache. Come on, man.
But the God of all grace.
The God of all grace.
Who hath called us unto his eternal
glory. Oh, now you listening? Who what?
Who hath called us unto his eternal
glory. Called unto his eternal glory.
By Christ Jesus.
By Christ Jesus.
After that ye have suffered a while.
You want the solution? Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. After what?
After that ye have suffered a while.
Strength is born in the silence of long suffering.
My God.
All right, you want to know how to get it? I'm telling you right now. I'm as clear as I know how to read. And now you can't circumvent this and get it. You can't go around and talk about it and preach about it and holler about it and think about it. You've got to go through it. Many people don't stay saved long enough to really get there. To let God perfect them. They circumvent the difficult. They goes around it. Well, you can't get no strength like that. You can't. You know, now as I say, you are trying to develop your body, and you get a little baby 25-pound weight, well, that's why. And so after you find out that a 40-pounder is quite a little more difficult, and a little more trying to your muscles. And so then you go back to the 15 to 20 pounder and do that and think you're doing something. You're not doing anything. You're just wearing yourself out needlessly. You're not getting anywhere. What you do when the muscles start burning and what like you trembling and everything else. You just after a while those little peanuts you got will develop into some bulging biceps. You know what I mean? With house, through pain and grunting. You hear the guy and wait, some ooh, you said grunting. Well, why would he go through all that? They trying to develop themselves. They try to gain extra strength, and they keep putting little weights on the end of it. Put another one. You understand what I mean? So now, my boys they used like to toy with me. When they be having weights in the basement. Come on, Daddy, man, I'm messing this stuff. Come on, Daddy. I mess around and get out, I can't get back up. I don't get it. I know where you do it. There's one thing on this side, one thing on that side. If I get out and can't get it back, you get it off of me. So what I do, well, I go get a weight, I go to a certain distance, and after a while, I find it difficult. And I don't feel like straining. No, it's important. Strong enough as it is, I mean, that's good enough. So anyway, now, but I won't go so far. Now I could maybe develop, even at this stage of life, even more. But I'm not willing to go through what's necessary. I'm sorry. I might play around with something that's no problem, that I can just lift one hand, but it doesn't happen. Now, when it comes to that point where you got to grunt and groan and feel those muscles aching and whatnot, and you got to do that continually, and then add a little more to it. Read that scripture again. What it say? Listen to what it says. Listen. Follow the word of God.
But the God of all,
the God of all grace,
who has called us unto his
who has
eternal
called
glory,
us to his eternal glory,
by Christ Jesus,
by Christ Jesus.
after that you have suffered a while,
After you have suffered, after you have strained and struggled and grunted, after, how long? As long as necessary. As long as necessary. You know, one son I got, he was very muscular, and he got out of the garage, and he maybe gained 20 pounds, 30 pounds, nothing but muscle. He's slim and everything else, but and after a while he get tired, and I go down 2 weeks later and he's back where he was. He could have kept going and been a muscle monster. You follow me? So he got tired of the rigor and the discipline that was necessary to produce that. Same thing about saints. Many saints go through things with a smile. You hear nothing of them. How does he go through so much? How does Brother tolerate that? How does he maintain himself in the midst of that? How does he do it? How does he do it? All right? And then after a while, he gets tired of doing it. See, that discipline is an integral part of development. You understand what I mean? But it's consistency. It's consistency. It's not doing one great big splash and make a great big accomplishment, but it's the consistency of it.
My God.
Some people make all kinds of stands and consecration. I go where God say go. I give up anything for God. I'll do all this kind of stuff. And maybe they give up a couple of things. And it put them in a little economic grind. And that's why you see them going back picking up what they gave up. Remember Peter dropped the net, and after a while he had a little problem and he went back fishing. And God had Jesus remind him, you gave that up, son. You said you wherever I go, and whatever the case might be, Father, what you will. But you found out it would cramp your lifestyle. You have to live on a different plane if you do that. And you have become accustomed to wanting the best for yourself, and the kingdom is secondary. Are you praying with me? All right. Now, read it once more. Listen to it. Listen to this, please. Let's listen.
But the God of all grace,
The God of all grace,
who hath called us unto his
who has
eternal
called
glory,
us to what?
his eternal
His
glory,
eternal glory.
by Christ Jesus,
By Christ Jesus.
after that ye have suffered a while,
After that you have suffered a while.
make you perfect,
Make you perfect.
establish,
When? After you don't just wake up one morning like that, full of grace and glory and full of perfection. No, after you suffered a while. How long? I don't know how long it takes. Some people may be almost instant, some people maybe never reach that point. What? Because they keep jumping out the fire. They keep jumping out the wheat pit. They keep taking the weight off the end, coming back to where they started. They keep pitching off that convictions. I'm going to tell you something, to God, you see it before you, so this is it, come home to you. You see it, you've seen it, you've observed individuals. Here's what I'm talking about now. You've seen them go through this. All right, read on.
after that ye have suffered a while,
After you suffer a while,
make you perfect,
make you perfect,
establish,
establish,
strengthen, settle.
strengthen, so that after you suffer a while, strengthen. That's how you get your strength. What? Because through long suffering, going through whatever allowed to come your way, adversities, things that you're embarrassed to go through, it's painful, and you just want my enemy to go around it. You follow me? And you just rather leave town. I just leave town. I do anything. I don't go through that no more. I go to Egypt where they teach something different. The Muslims got a good standard. So I think I go to Saudi Arabia. And contention, you can content yourself, you can psych yourself to agree with anything. You can psych yourself to agree with anything. and feel good about it. Feel no compunction. All right? Now, let me show you something. Whatever come your way, despite the extent of it, regardless how excruciating or stringent it might be, you should come out of it stronger. Not broken down with black eyes and cauliflower ears and all this kind of thing. You should come out of it stronger. You went through it right. And the Bible says you suffered a while. That suffering a while that brought that pressure should bring out of it stronger. Not despairing, not making some wild assumption, not an attitudinal change. God help us out here. I've seen people go through things, even though they didn't leave the church, but they were never the same after that. The attitude changed. And they justified it, and there was nothing we could do to correct it. You follow me? Let me tell you something. I bet this, Sister so-and-so, ever since that event, she's been different. Ever since the young man went through that, they have not been the same anymore. That's a sad commentary. Well, that's a sad commentary. Ever since they came in contact with this, they are different. But there was a testing situation here, and they didn't choose to fight it, they didn't choose to stand against it, and they became a part of it. And now, they came out of it worse than they went in it. If there's any kind of encounter with the difficulty, you should come out of it better. You should come out of it sweeter. Like one time I preached about turning to sugar. I was saying how that preserves. Sometimes, if you don't know the tactics and how to do it, well, it won't spoil, but it will just turn into sugar. It'll get sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. But now, if you don't preserve it right, you start spewing and it was sour. And I use Stephen as an example, how that all that they did to him, crushed him, stoned him, excuse me, maligned him. And in his last, but Lord, forgive him. What? Not kill him, not destroy him, not expose him. Lord, forgive him. They don't do it. What? The worst they could do to him could only make him sweeter. Or the worst they could do to him would give him a better attitude toward him. No animosity, no adverse attitude, no breach in the relationship. Honey, I know we haven't been married too long, and some things that I didn't know how to say, but I can understand. This is new to you. This is new to you. I know that, you've been talkative all your life, and your mouth went like a big bell. I understand, darling. That's habitual. You know what I'm saying. If I don't believe for it, anyway. You see what I mean? And you come out of it better. And so when I say after 6 months, man, I married going, oh, beautiful. And that would not be an exaggeration. You'd actually be beautiful. And I see you still shouting, a genuine shout. I don't mean just something, a physical demonstration. I mean, but you still praising God. And how you think? You like the old lady I used to work with when he was 70 years old, walk around, he wore a short dress and he ring. How you doing, Miss Ruth? Never better. That's what you said now. You going through, you watch, wait a minute. I passed by the window the other day, and that sister, whatever, which is raking them over the cold. I heard myself looking back. That's not sister so-and-so. I guess it is. And so he come to church and come over, smiling, sitting as close as she would allow him. Without it, she's not still mad. So anyway, so You understand? And never seen attitudinal break. Never seen. There are a few people in my life, a few, maybe 3. All the people you know, yeah, that's a pretty close estimation. But I've never seen them change attitude. I've seen them under all kinds of trying situations, and I never saw an attitudinal change. A few. Almost like the old fellow said, "Hey, honey, it looked like this thing is coming down to the wire. And it looked like there's nobody righteous but me and thee. And sometimes I wonder about thee." So that is just me. In Joshua, we just go make some scriptural references. Over in Joshua, be strong and be courageous. In fact, in about 3 verses, he mentioned be strong about 3 or 4 different times. Well, listen now, listen. He said, now, be strong, and I'm with you, but do all that you can. You got to be courageous. Don't just live there and wake up one morning and find out you're all full of strength. You got to do all that you can. Refrain from those situations. Those unnecessary trials. Don't come close to them. I mean, whatever you got to do, make some distance between you and it. Well, I'm not strong enough. Well, you know why? Because you keep feeding it. That's why. If you keep feeding a spirit, it's going to get stronger. You understand? You can't play with it. You're going to fight it. If you keep playing with the spirit, you keep toying with it, you're just going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And pretty soon, you'll be totally out of it. Maybe not your presence, but for practical purposes. You understand? And so now, children, don't toy with the forbidden. That's what happened to Eve. Now, what she did to begin with was forbidden. Don't come close to it. Don't come close to it, but she did. And there was something about it there to encourage her to go further. When you're going to get off, there's always somebody around who supposedly do you a favor. Well, nothing wrong with that. So-and-so did it. And you want to do it anyway, and you'll grab for it. But it's going to take a chunk out of it. What's going to take a chunk out of it? You know, if they listen to some sound advice and sound encouragement, you're going to see somebody who's compromising already. And I want to make another scriptural reference. You understand? Brother, if you stay in the furnace long enough, God will cook all of that stuff out of you. You're roasted out of it. All that carnality, all that impatience, all that gossip, all that negative attitude, God will take it out. God will roast it out of you. But now, though, you can't jump out of the furnace as soon as you get up to 25 degrees. You got to stay there. You got to stew until you're through. All right, give me the one, Ephesians 6:13. Let's move quickly. Ephesians 6:13. All right.
Wherefore take unto you
the
whole armor of God.
The whole armor of God.
That ye may be able to withstand in the evil day.
You might be able to withstand in the evil day.
And having done all to stand.
Now, wait just a moment. Now, you got to do all you can do. You got to do all you can do. After done everything, stand. After having done all the stand,
stand therefore.
Wait just a moment. Now, don't expect God to do all the standing for you. You're going against opposition. You're going with negative feelings, bad feelings. You're going against all of that to stand. And after having done all to stand, you've done everything you know, Lord. Lord, I've done all that I know to stand. I've taken proper instructions. I've accepted the encouragement of Satan. I read the Word of God. I've done all that I know to stand. What would I do now, Lord? Come on with it.
Stand therefore.
Oh, Here we go. Watch the scripture now. After having done all to stand, now just establish your position. I'm not going no further. I don't understand. Now I'm going to establish a position right here. I told you about it many times. But old Joe Dobbins, he was the boxing champion. And so I was the heavyweight champion. And I'd work with him. We'd work out together. And so that was the gyms. And so after I left, I asked one of the policemen, thank you, sir. I asked one of the policemen, what about Joe? He's in karate now. He's in karate now. He's not that good. You know what? He doesn't box anymore. You know, he's older. But I said, well, how's he doing? He said, you can't move him. He said, when he established a position, I said, see, you got to move and trick him and get him off balance and flip him. See, he said, you can't move him. See, you cannot move him. When he establishes a position, he's there. He's there. Do what you want to do, try to trick him, do all you please, you can't move him. You cannot move him. And see, the enemy cannot overthrow you unless he can move you. You understand? The enemy cannot overthrow you unless he can move you. You follow me? See? Now, and now here, children, I've told you this many times. A young lady on a job, there's a chronic flirt there. If he can't move you, he can't seduce you. Got to move you, see. At first, you say something or do something, and you go home thinking about it. And after a while, you begin to get a certain feeling. You understand? If he can't move you, he cannot do a thing. And you get that. That's why you can't talk to these fellas, these streetwise guys. Many of us little green Church of God girl never been exposed. I said, hey, baby, you sure fine. Because you know better because you just looked in the mirror. Anyway. but it sounds so good to you, you know. You don't hear him say it again. You know what I mean? But it sounds good, but even though that's ridiculous. You know better, you know, okay? In fact, you don't even look good you used to. But anyway, it sounds good. And you want to come back and hear more. You hear more. And then he added a little more to it. And that's the feeling that goes with it. You follow me? See? After having done all the stands, but now, I'll tell you what you do. You on your job or wherever you are. And so, and the system was two-sided stuff to you. Well, you got your people, I don't play that. Right. And if someone happens to do that, I tell her, I report you. You're arrested. You won't come back anymore because you citizens, you don't get it. If you come and touch you on the shoulder, you know, sometimes the hand gets a little light and go on down. Anyway, and so he said, stop, don't stop. That's an invitation. You know, you don't mean no stop. You just the way you say it. Put them teeth in. Hey, what you get your screen picked up? Come on, your I'll write you up. And then you won't be bothered anymore. You follow me? There's a tremendous thing we do with each other. I haven't done all the stand, but you got to do the stand. Women, lay on your feet before God. Go your extended, open-ended fast. I've done all I know, Lord. I refrain. I haven't followed no vain conversation. I've not talked no foolishness against with the sister and gossip. I pay before you, Lord. And now, what else? Well, you would not. You got your position, so just stand there. And the glory will come. Just stand right there, and the glory will come. Because I promise it to you. I promise the glory will come. You will be an overcomer. You will be an overcomer. There's no two ways about it. You know, there's no maybe about it. You will be an overcomer. Praise God. All right, now let's make another reference here, if we may. Turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 1. Come on with it. Verse number 3, 2 Corinthians 1:3. At the time you get this, we're talking about you're going to have to be strong. To be strong. But now he's not asking you to do it. Listen to the scripture. Listen to the word of God. Come on.
Blessed be God.
Blessed be God.
Even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ.
The Father of mercies.
The Father of mercy.
And the God of all comfort.
The God of all comfort.
Who comforted us in all
now just listen,
tribulation.
please. Who comforted us in all our tribulation. Tribulation means trouble, extreme trouble. And the Bible says God will comfort you in every last one of you. He will just leave you out there and just watch you wiggle and perish. Just take the word of God. Now you, how long? Well, he knows how long is necessary. He knows how long is necessary. That's my wife. She knew her children. One come in and he hollered and kicking and all that. You take a comment and hit it. She didn't know what I just took a picture. That's why one who she knows and never makes any moderation on that kind of stuff. He comes in. What's the matter? What's the matter? Well, he's not doing anything, but I know. Something happened. Something happened. I know my children. And God knows too. Some people die kicking and hollering for nothing. Ain't nothing wrong with them. Somebody just said something they didn't like. And then somebody just said something that they didn't go along with. And then they got an attitude. Nothing wrong with them. Other than that, no more than happening all the time. Read.
Who comforted us in all our tribulations.
Comforted us in all our tribulations.
That we may be able to comfort them which
now,
are in any
see, you can't comfort anybody else if you're not comforting yourself. One of the most detrimental things in the world is trying to, how they be encouraged and you discouraged. Honey, we gotta stop talking to me. When you start off. You kick it off. You stop talking. Then what I'm about to talk to me. Come on.
Who comforteth us in all our tribulation.
All our tribulation.
That we may be able to comfort them which are.
You can't comfort anybody else. Wait just a moment here, sir. Hold it. If you're not going through right yourself, you can't comfort nobody else. Honey, just believe it. Just trust God. Well, you didn't do it. Honey, don't fight back. You didn't do it. You fought back. And malign names and done everything you could to destroy your opponent. And you can tell me yesterday and take it on the chin. You can't comfort nobody, and I know that. But turn the other cheek. Why didn't you turn the other cheek? Well, I did turn the other cheek. But the Bible said turn the other cheek. But they say what do after that? All that kind of thing. Come on with it.
That we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble.
We might be able to comfort them that are in trouble.
By the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of God.
But we're going to comfort you by what I got. I'm going to encourage you, your faith by my faith. I'm going to hold you up by my strength. But you got to be in a position to do it. It's a sad situation when somebody's in desperation and you don't have the wherewithal to help them when you should be. You follow me? Because somebody helped you when you're in trouble. Now you should take advantage of this situation and get to where you can help somebody. Come on. You know, I was just thinking of raising up children. We thought we trusted God. And sometime, and they would come in the middle of the night, Daddy, I'm sick. Okay, come on, give me boy, give me all bottle. And that's it, you pray. You go back to sleep, that's it. I don't care when they died, if you wouldn't. If they had prayed, that's it. But they, well, I'm comforted. So, if God can comfort you, you understand? See, we should be in position to reliably comfort someone else. And you can't come with gossip and negativism. You got to have something from God, the right spirit, and the right experience to do so. All right? Come on with it.
Who comforteth us in all our tribulation.
All our tribulation.
That we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble.
We might, I don't care what your trouble is, there was a person who got the spirit, they can help. If you will allow them to, if you will accept it. Oh yes, see, some people got that gift. I don't care how low you are, they can pull you up. They got that kind of spirit. Why? Because they notice that you never get under no false spirit. And so they confide in you that you can help me. Come on here.
By the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of God.
We ourselves are comforted of God.
For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so our consolation also aboundeth by Christ.
Come on.
And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings which we also suffer.
All right.
Or whether we be comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation.
Listen, all right. If we are confident, it's in your best interest. It's for you. It's for you as an example to give you to know that I have something to comfort you with. It's for you. But we got to go through it to be able to help you. We got to be comforted ourselves, otherwise we can't help you. You understand, children? Come on.
And our hope of you is steadfast.
Our hope of you is steadfast.
Knowing that as ye are partakers of the suffering, so shall you also of the consolation.
Yes.
For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant.
Please listen. We're going to try to climax this. What you say?
For we would not, brethren.
We would not, brethren.
Have you ignorant of our trouble.
Have you ignorant of our trouble.
Which came to us in Asia.
In Asia.
That we were pressed out of measure.
Listen. There was no scale. Nothing they sold had in the drugstore. No apparatus they got in the laboratory at the hospital that can measure how pressed I was. See, he didn't try to say, I would put my head almost bursting, my blood pressure went up. He said, there is no way you can measure what I went through. But listen to the results. Come on.
That we were pressed out of measure.
Pressed out of measure.
Above strength.
Above strength.
Insomuch that we despaired even.
In other words, we had no natural resources to overcome it. It's just too much for us. Above strength, I cannot explain it. I cannot make a comparison because there's nothing to compare it with. Above strength. Even though we have an amount of natural strength. In fact, we have quite a reservoir. But what I went through was above that. What we went through in India. So we can't really give you a true assessment because it's indescribable. It's beyond our ability to explain. You follow me? But listen to it, please. Come on, be encouraged with this. My God, help us here. Come on.
That we were pressed out of measure, above strength, in so much that we despaired even of life.
We thought it would actually physically kill us. Just the despair. You understand what I mean? Not that we're going to have some organic problem or a kidney failure, but the despair. The despair was so strong. The hopelessness, we just burst our very being. We just ripped us apart. We had no hope, whatever, and there was nothing, no light at the end of the tunnel. So we just went, that's why we committed suicide. I mean, the despair and the darkness is so accumulated that there is nothing they can think of or do to alleviate themselves. So they leave a note. I just couldn't take any more. So I did it all. Come away.
But we had the sentence of death in ourselves.
The sentence of death in ourselves.
That we should not trust in ourselves.
We should not trust in ourselves.
But in God, which raises the dead.
Wait a minute. This is the situation. God that raises the dead. We believe God to the extent that even though it's indescribable what I'm going through, only God knows. But we're going to trust God, even if we do. But our heart does burst. He gives us a new life. I don't mean a transplant. I don't mean reroute the valves and all this kind of thing. I believe God. I don't care if it's gone. It's not beyond God's ability to I'm talking, we took Abraham, the Bible says, Abraham said this, God gave me a promise.
Glory! Praise God.
And what seemed to be suggested to me is biologically absurd. I mean, if I think that a woman can conceive a child at 90 years old, I'm 100. I threw in the towel years ago.
Amen.
And to think there's going to be some kind of a magical resuscitation here, definitely not. Wait a minute, but God promised me. So I'm not going to faint, I'm not going to stay. But I'm being strong in the faith. Strong. That's what strength is all about. I don't care how far it's gone, how impossible it seems. I don't know how ridiculous it is to assume anything better. God said it. And I don't even have to know how he's going to do it. It might not have been done before. We talk about something, we talk about Church of God here now. I'm not talking about fly-by stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something genuine here. My real faith, what we proclaim and few people have. I believe God can turn it around. It might have gone beyond all reasonable limits. But I believe God can turn it around. According to the law, according to the physical situation and the deterioration, God can turn it around. And I believe that. And you can't pull me off and save your life. And so don't come to me with no logic. I'm not talking about logic. I'm talking about faith. I know it's illogical. I understand that. We know that. We know that. And it's almost laughable to think that I can conceive at this stage of life. But the Bible says he's a stagger. My God. Wait a minute. What you got? Well, you got to say it. Well, the doctor told me I said it in the hallway when one boy died. Man, you better go down to the pit. I got a range in me. That's what call it. You got to think that bigger than a golf ball, 2 of them. All right, then get them out and let's play some golf. I ain't going away. Amen. Praise God, praise God, praise God. Amen. Praise God. This is what the world is all. When Jesus comes, we find faith in this. People have gone through so much and fought so many times and looked at the dark side of the picture and forget what God promised. That's a sad predicament he made. That's a sad prophecy. It's going to be that way. And I see it when I find faith in the earth. Wait a month. That's why I'm praying so hard about this engagement we got at the church in Detroit, where I used to go. Figure out the churches for a while. And I said, Lord, is there anything to resuscitate? Is there anything to stir it? Anything left to stir it? If you mess around and lose something, well, then you got nothing to stir it. I don't know what you preach. When Noah preached everything he could preach, but those people had their imagination become so wicked, they had nothing to stir it. He couldn't stir them up. He couldn't move. That's a tough situation. And we're here to them up. They're going the same way before the coming of Christ. Until the day that Noah entered the ark. So people not going to change. All those church people, they got comfortable living in the flesh. And they were so obsessed with that, they were not going to change. So Noah, come on in, get your family. They don't need to preach no more sermons. Close the revival. Tear your tent down. Won't help this morning. Won't help this morning. I need strength, brother. You have to suffer. That's a bargain. If I can get strength to stand for God, for suffering a little while, not forever, by God, that's a bargain. I trade the glory of God for suffering. I mean, what you mean? Give me your glory, Lord. Give me that power, that strength to believe God implicitly. And I'll be willing to suffer whatever. Let it be, if that's my life. So what? We better get our minds right and properly aligned. I'm going to tell you the truth, children. The world is going down in darkness and unbelief is the order of the day. And we want to add to it. God help us, we're trying to pull it out. I've got so many engagements right now. People coming here. And I want to talk to him in Detroit, to talk to the preacher. That he knew about the thing. And so he had got a condition. before you leave, anoint me, pray for me. You probably don't do it himself where you are. But you sense something here that's been lost. And he wanted to be captured to whatever need you could. Well, maybe you got less sensitivity. Maybe we must with it. We'll see. So I just waited here. I think he might have tried to call me. Maybe that week. That's what happened today, sure. It's not going to happen. It just happened. It's not going to be something spontaneous. It's going to be something you go through the furnace. But look what you're getting. Look at the benefits. Amen. Shall we stand? That's going to help you make up. We don't need no